What's going on, everybody? I'm back with another video. This video is going to be looking at the match between Everton and Leeds, and we're going to look at a few things we learned about Frank Lampard's Everton and what they do tactically and what they try to do moving forward and in defense, and how they beat Leeds by such a drastic margin. Now, before we get into the tactics behind the match, check out both my books. They're online on Amazon, and there's links in the description below. Also, be sure to check out Keyframe. It's how I'm making this video. But let's get right into the tactics behind the match. So Everton played in a 4-4-2 in possession of the ball as well as out of possession. And this consisted of narrow, wide players that were able to then come from the wide area and into the half space to then really utilize the center of the field. Richarlison played alongside Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which really suited him, because as Richarlison plays on the left-hand side, he typically inverts anyway and cuts in on his right foot, so it put him in a very natural position, and these two ran off each other quite well. So when Calvert-Lewin would drop deeper to get the ball, Richarlison would run in behind. So with Everton's 4-4-2, in the back, they typically use the wide areas for their fullbacks to then give them full width and give them a wider offensive organization and attacking phase. In the midfield, especially against Leeds United, they would typically exploit the man advantage from the back line going into the midfield and then find space through the central corridors. Because Leeds went with more of a back five to maintain their man orientation and create the free man in behind, this often left holes in their midfield because they went with dual width on either side, with Jack Harrison and Stuart Dallas and Luke Ayling and Rafinha staying a bit wider, even in their defensive phase, but especially when they had the ball, which we'll look at, which then definitely left holes throughout their team. So when Daniel James would go to press, we'd have man orientation, stepping up the field, and Jack Harrison would also press from out to in. So by using the cover shadow try to block, Everton could find third man passes and even exploit blindside movements from their midfield to take advantage of the man orientation of Leeds United. With Donny van de Beek in the team, we also see him having the ability to have a more free role, with Allen as a single pivot most of the time, Donny van de Beek able to go in the half space and go higher up the field as he likes to, and then we have Gordon go in the wide area and occupy with dual width, giving the team some flexibility and some unpredictability about the way they're playing, which gave Leeds also problems having them to defend in multiple ways, using man orientation while maintaining control over the dangerous spaces. Now, the defining phase in the match was actually Leeds in possession because of the amount of space they left when they had the ball. So Leeds still went with dual width with Rafinha and Ayling and Dallas and Harrison by making runs higher up the field in inverted ways. But to start and in some key transitions, Leeds went with dual width that left the center of the field very wide open. And Rodrigo, oftentimes he would make a blindside run in behind Allen when they would step up to go and press. He would make a blindside run into the center of the field and be able to find a third line pass from the central defenders. But with Click and Rodrigo as the main two central midfielders or players occupying central midfield roles, it led to a lot of loss of possessions that immediately countered into very dangerous situations. So the rest defense from Leeds was not very effective, which is always an issue with a team that has low occupation of the central corridors and tries to use dynamic movement to occupy these areas in a very dynamic way by first vacating them and then moving into them. And that's where we're going to wrap up the analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.